G'day everyone, Eric here. I've never actually backed a HasLab. Quite honestly, none of the selections mean enough to me to warrant the expenditure, or I'm quite content with the original toys. But that doesn't mean I don't pay attention, nor does it mean I don't have friends that do back HasLab items. Today I want to talk about one HasLab Transformers item in particular that caused quite the controversy due to its Australian price point. Transformers Legacy Robots in Disguise 2001 Omega Prime. The HasLab Transformers crowdfunder for 2024, the Omega Prime set consists of remakes of both Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus from 2001's Robots in Disguise anime. Both toys sport new points of articulation, such as a waist, increased stability in the combined Omega Prime form, and are slightly redesigned, leading to Optimus Prime being larger than the original toy. In addition to this, Ultra Magnus' weapon has been re-envisioned as a weaponizer, now capable of transforming into the deluxe-sized blue bolts. Finally, the set comes with the massive Matrix Blade, the original being a redeco of a weapon from the Japanese release of Voltris Maximus, and a stand. Not only the most successful Transformers HasLab campaign, Omega Prime is the second most successful HasLab campaign period, with 28,230 backers. This is a phenomenal success by any metric, but should be unsurprising. The original was a very popular toy in its day, and is still a very good toy 25 years later. Robots in Disguise 2001 isn't a terribly obscure anime, and it's Optimus Prime. This was going to be a success and could have gone to retail. For North America, the UK, Europe and Asia, HasLab crowdfunding campaigns are backed by Hasbro's own fan channel online store, Hasbro Pulse. This isn't true for Australia, however. Despite Hasbro being a major force in our market with considerable more influence than Mattel, Hasbro Australia prefers to deal with fan channels such as JB Hi-Fi and Zing Pop Culture. Zing, much like its sister chain EB Games, is owned by the US company GameStop and is the Australian version of ThinkGeek, a general pop culture store that sells Funko Pop vinyls, toys, collectibles, games and apparel. Like every store under the GameStop umbrella, they do not engage in competitive pricing, but regularly have sales. Zing Pop Culture handles HasLabs for Australia exclusively. Zing also has some additional benefits over Hasbro Pulse. Not only can you pay them off, only an admittedly sizable deposit is required, but if you don't back them, they do order extras to stock in their stores, so you have a second shot down the track. For the US market, Omega Prime was priced at $250 USD. Both individual robots seem to be somewhere around this year's Star Convoy in terms of size, complexity, and piece count, with Star Convoy being priced at $150 USD. I think Omega Prime is very reasonable at $250 USD. For the Australian market, however, Omega Prime was priced at an exorbitant $750 Australian dollars. This took many by surprise, as not only prior HasLabs, but this year's Lyra Kaiser were priced around 2 times the American price, either a little under or a little over, exactly the same as our retail Transformers. Omega Prime, on the other hand, was priced 3 times US price, and people were pretty pissed about it, rightfully so too. While Australia is known for being expensive, there is a lot more to it than face value, and this pricing screams taking advantage of exclusivity. People contacted Hasbro Australia and Zing to question the pricing, but it never went anywhere and the price stuck. Using a historical currency converter, 250 USD turns into just short of 385 Australian dollars around the time of the campaign. However, if you've done international purchases, you'll know that not only do you get less of the money you're converting into than what the rate says, but it doesn't include conversion fees. 450 Australian might be closer to the mark for a direct conversion after all is said and done, not including postage. Using other Transformers HasLabs as a reference point, 499 Australian dollars would have been a fair price for the Omega Prime set, double the US price point. But this is still $250 short from that $750 Australian dollar price point. I have a very educated guess on what happened though, so educated that I could reverse engineer the numbers. In my line of work, I'm actually privy to what Hasbro charges retailers as a supplier for merchandise. I'm not going to tell you the exact costs for obvious reasons, but I could compare the ticket prices at my work to Zing's, then find Zing's exact margins for a deluxe. Knowing it's roughly the same across all box price points, only small amounts of variance, I use that to get a good idea of what Zing is paying per unit for Omega Prime, and I've found exactly what I expected. Zing is paying the ticket price. In retail, while different stores have different ways of operating, it's a balancing act between making a profit and getting stock to move, and it's always better to get rid of stock at a lower margin than to sit on it. They want you coming back and buying more. Merchandise is not a long-term investment. Retail is cutthroat, and this is what is best for big chains. Some stores will have a lower margin than everyone else in order to increase their sales velocity, while other stores will bank on their branding and range to get people through the door, then have large sales to clear out old stock. But no chain store is actively trying to rip you off. You will just shop elsewhere, and that has ramifications internally, especially for store staff. Omega Prime's $750 Australian dollar price is not the result of Zing ripping anyone off. While Zing and EB Games are known for their higher prices than their competition, it's not actually true. Just like Toys R Us before them, they do not engage in competitive pricing for the sake of higher sales velocity. They just price the item at whatever the supplier tells them, then have regular sales to move straggling stock. They lean heavily on their brand recognition and range to drive traffic. The price for Omega Prime is firmly at the feet of Hasbro Australia. They have very likely charged Zing their own ticket price from Hasbro Pulse for the item rather than their supplier price. But it's the nature of the price and why this was never rectified that confuses me. Correcting mistakes with merchandise from a supplier is a very simple affair. Suppliers largely control sales rather than the stores, and it isn't in anyone's best interests to hit such a price point. That's why I'm lost. Why was this never fixed? Only Hasbro Australia can answer that one. Some Australians, including a close friend of mine who backed this campaign, hope the price is going to be rectified at the 11th hour when the stock finally hits Australian shores. But I sincerely doubt it. The market has said they will bear it and pay the price. There is no reason beyond goodwill, something entirely unnecessary at this point, to rectify the price. Right thing to do? Sure, but what is there to gain? With it selling so well, and Laia Kaiser seemingly unimpacted in our communities, why correct it? People are clearly happy to continue consuming. I don't know if today's video was interesting to most of my audience, as only 3.6% of you are Australians, but it's something I've wanted to discuss for a while now, and I'll be returning to the topic of Legacy Omega Prime in the foreseeable future. If you did enjoy today's video and want more Transformers content, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Till next time friends, this has been Eric from Toys Down Under, and thanks for watching.